Welcome to ICMK, like and subscribe. In this video I will try to keep it short, but I want to talk about why MK1 is such a disappointment. So first off, I want to just clarify that I do think MK1 is a quote-unquote good game overall when grading it on gaming industry standards, but why is MK1 such a huge disappointment and a failure in the eyes of so many fans? And to fully understand, I feel we need to go over a quick recap of Mortal Kombat history. After MK came onto the scene in the early 90s and became one of the biggest fighting games of the 90s, the series fell out of relevance, with most people not liking MK4 in 97, and then it taking like 5 years till the next core installment MK would come around with Deadly Alliance. At the time, in 2002, there was a lot of hype for MKDA since it had been such a long time since a new MK game had come out. However, once it did come out and everyone got their hands on it, most people in the FGC mocked Mortal Kombat, and even more so when Deception came out and seen it was, and people seen that it was basically more of the same from MKDA. The problem being the gameplay and how shallow and janky it was in comparison to the other main fighting games of the time. However, many diehard MK fans, as myself, supported MK during this 3D era despite the gameplay not being as good as other fighters. But at least as fans of MK, we were still fulfilled with the great lore and characters of the series, which was never better than Deadly Alliance and Deception in my opinion, at least as the lore goes. But still, there was the constant mockery from the FGC whenever it came to the talking about Mortal Kombat, and honestly I would say rightfully so. So for years and years, I had hoped that we would one day finally get a new Mortal Kombat that was deemed as so-called tournament worthy, or in other words, a MK with actual good content, good content and competent gameplay. In 2011, my hopes became reality with MK9. Now, MK9 had many faults, and honestly, it probably never should have been a tournament game because of some certain faults. But damn right, I was happy to have that game and played it almost religiously every day because I wanted to just simply enjoy a good MK game for as long as possible. 4 years later, in 2015, we get MKX, and in my opinion, everything got even better with the exception of the variation system. But all in all, MKX was still terrific, and it's still terrific to this day, and it's my most favorite fighting game of all time. So 2 for 2 in this new NRS era that began with MK9. Go another 4 years in 2019 for MK11, and of course we were expecting it to be even better. However, in the end, no, MK11 was not better than MKX or even MK9, but still a good game overall. It has its faults, but I still think it was good overall. It had some key missteps with MK11's design that led to a good but boring experience with the gameplay. And as far as the lore goes, it took a turn I don't think anyone wanted with the whole Chronica and time stuff, especially just being the third game in from the reboot. So we waited 4 more years for MK12 or MK1, which is another reboot. But okay, we are fine with that because we expect they had learned some lessons and sought to correct some mistakes of the past and get things right this time around with the reboot. And as for the gameplay, we expected them to make things more like a MK9 and MKX rather than like a MK11, and really turn things back around in the right direction as far as gameplay goes. Well, now we are 6 months in MK1, and as a hardcore MK fan, I gave and I will continue to give MK1 every chance I can, but ultimately I won't let my fandom blind me to what MK1 really is, and that is simply just a huge disappointment in every way. The new lore in MK1 is just bad, and then making it this multiverse storyline is not what anybody wants for MK story. So now, on this so-called reboot, is already a total mess that no one cares about. No one cares about Titan Havoc from another timeline coming to this new era timeline and causing chaos. I never once have even seen any story-related discussions or videos speculating where the story could be, what it could be, or where it could be going, or what is going to happen next with so-and-so character, because they have ruined the lore with too much time traveling and multiverse BS. Not even the characters themselves are the same characters from the past Mortal Kombats. They are, just basically former shells of themselves at best. Scorpion isn't even the same person. No, instead they turn younger Sub-Zero into their rival. A character like Tanya is literally nothing like her original character. She's basically a brand new Tanya, that the only similarities are a darker skin tone and liking the color yellow. So, with how little people care about the story and characters in MK1, it just shows how disappointing that aspect of Mortal Kombat has become. As for the gameplay, I broke it down more. I break it down more in an hour-long video about there being no depth in MK1, and that, in short, is exactly the issue and why the gameplay is so disappointing. There are aspects of the gameplay in the new cameo system that is fun and more fun than MK11 ever was, but when compared to its competitors, or even compared to MKs of the past, you see how shallow the characters and cameos designs really are. Their shallow designs leads to a shallow meta, which leads to a very boring game. So even though MK1 can be fun, it is almost as boring as MK11, but can be even more frustrating. And it all comes down to there not being enough depth to the gameplay and poor design choices when making the characters. Before release, I really thought MK1 was going to become my all-time new favorite, but now, 6 months in, I'm not sure it even makes my top 10 for MK games. And this is just a huge disappointment. Honestly, I feel like MK is falling back into the days of the 3D era and is becoming, or has become, the laughingstock of the FGC. Unless there's real change with the gameplay of MK1 and a big turnaround happens, this game is already done and dead as far as the FGC is concerned. I, for one, find that very, very disappointing, because as a hardcore MK fan, I never wanted to see it fall back into comparable days of the 3D era. Now, I actually do still have hope for MK1 turning around. Maybe getting that tag mode eventually will spice things up for a bit. That is, if it even comes ever. But for the first time since 2011, I don't think Mortal Kombat will be my main game, at least for now. I will still play MK1 and go back to it anytime there is anything new, but I don't see it, it being my most played fighter for how many more years till the next MK, and we try out all this again. And then, just to mention real quick, the ridiculous pricing in their premium shop, how bad Invasions mode is, as well as the technical issues have not helped MK1 in any way. Invasions is so bad, I hear people say it is comparable to a mobile game, but I say it's even worse than a mobile game. MK Onslaught is actually fun and can be addicting, whereas Invasions mode sucks in every way. So Invasions isn't even on par with free mobile games. And as for the technical issues, us MK fans can and have put up with a lot over the years, but the worst and most disappointing thing from a technical aspect is how bad the netcode is. The netcode in main competitors such as Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 are great, but with MK1, it is one of the worst I've ever experienced. And honestly, it took time to truly realize how bad it is, and I am talking primarily about the input delays. Never in any game online have I felt robbed of so many matches because of input delays screwing me over. Yet in MK1, stuff you should have had blocked, you get hit anyways, and is just infuriating. All in all, and to bring this video to an end, I think MK1 had all the potential in the world, but turned out to be a giant bust. There is still hope for improvements down the road, but as for now, things look very grim, and Mortal Kombat may fall completely out of relevancy before the end of 2024. I hope this helps give some insight to why myself and the community at large are not happy with MK1, and that we love and care very deeply about this franchise and want nothing but the best. So when it is lacking, we need to use our voices to try and help steer MK in the right direction. It's a series that that we have a deep connection with, that some of us have a very deep connection with Mortal Kombat, and we just want to see it get better and just be as best as it can be, and at least up there on par with its competitors. But that's it. I want to see what you all think, so I will be keeping an eye on the comment section, and I do read any and all comments, so let's talk about it. But until next time, guys, I'll catch you later here on ICMK.